There are thousands of DOS games. Most of them are terrible. I play one selected at random with a 20-minute time limit and record it live. This is the result. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another random DOS game show. And this is that company that I can't pronounce the name of. It's Synosis, you get the idea. And also, we have I Love My DR, which isn't a doctor, it is of course Designers Republic. And we've got some nice techno music, and fans of the game will immediately know what this is, assuming you haven't, looked at the title of the video. One of the all-time great 90s soundtracks for a game. And we've got our engine levels ready. The little pit stop robot indicates that this is the future. It's a futuristic race. And that car is hovering. So it's some kind of hover racer. And the adrenaline is building as we slowly emerge from the mechanical orifice. I guess you could call it a pit stop. The cars are ready. The track is primed. Countdown. 3. The excitement's palpable. Are you ready? Or are you gonna crash and burn and be wiped out? That's right. It's WipEout. That was totally worth sitting through, wasn't it? Especially with my commentary. Oh, nice screen there. I'll use that for the thumbnail. So, this is the DOS version of WipEout. And the soundtrack is absolutely perfect. You've got start game options and exit to DOS. And Rapier class is not available. So we'll have to go Venom class, I guess. And we'll go single race, I think. Though we have the options of championship and time trial. You select the team that you want to be a member of. And then you've got 2 drivers, which is kind of like Formula 1, really. And I think this is sort of, trying to emulate that. So we'll go with Ultima. And we'll see what happens.
3,
Very British man, shouting down the count. You ready?
go!
And we're off. I don't hear much engine noise from us. And we're doing this in the first person as opposed to the third, but we can do it in the third, if we wanted to. I can't remember how to change camera. But this was a classic game for the PlayStation. And it got a PC port. And the goal of WipEout is it's a racer. You want to avoid hitting things at all cost, because that'll happen. And you run over these pads while listening to cool dance music and feeling like it's 1995 all over again. Oh! Yeah, WipEout had a very cool aesthetic to it, a very nice look. Everything was just effortlessly sweet. But it was one of those racers where you just needed to avoid hitting things, and unfortunately, I could never do that. See the way the pads accelerate you? And there are weapons involved. Now, I can hit a weapon like that, but you pick up those weapons on the track, I believe.
Shockwave. Missile.
Was it Micromedia who did Shockwave? I can't remember. But yeah, you've got some cool announcer guy telling you things. You've got a guy at the start of the race counting you down with a distinctly British voice. And unfortunately, there's absolutely no reason to play this on DOS. the DOS version is not great by any means. The thing is, it's a great game, it's a classic game, but yeah, the port to DOS, take it or leave it. And that was one of the problems back in the day, with DOS gaming. I just hit a guy with a weapon there. It's control to accelerate, alt to hit your weapon, and you can just crash all over the place if you want and end up in 8th position like Lawnie's doing here. But it's worth pointing out that there's a fella came along, I believe it's a fella anyway, and they got the source code of WipEout, and they released it for free on the web. So you can actually go and you can play this game on the internets, and you can compile the source code yourself if you want, using data from the game that you have, I believe. I might be wrong about that, I haven't looked into it. There's the shield that'll prevent us from, getting hit by rockets, but unfortunately the brightness has come up. There is a way to switch to third person, but, I'm too lazy to do that. Yep. This is one of those games that it's very difficult to play and talk at the same time. But that's okay, I mentioned that in my Tetris video recently, people don't understand. It's one thing to play a game. It's another thing to play a game and talk and try and be interesting and informative about it out loud, Especially when it's something like this, which requires a lot of high reflexes. So, not happening, but that's okay. I'll probably look at another track after this, just to sort of give you a feel for it. Like, the resolution is not great either, I have to say, but thankfully DOS was a multimedia system at this point, so we have the fantastic soundtrack, which will mean no adverts on this one, because it's going to be one of those where if I try and advertise on this, they'll be like, yeah, this soundtrack is commercial, man, you can't do that. At least I think so. You've pretty much seen all there is to see about WipEout, It's not one of those games where it's got like a million and one amazing things that you need to see or whatever. And amazingly, I'm up to 5th. I was not expecting that. See, when I just focus on talking instead of driving, it goes okay. And you see the way I fired a missile there, but it didn't do anything to that guy? That was because he had the shield up and running. He was a crafty fella. So we've got another thing here. I'll just activate that. No, I missed. And now my driving is really starting to suffer. So I'll probably need to concentrate on that a little bit. You see us slow down there. It's because the guy in 8th position hit us with a missile and overtook us. So that was embarrassing. And that's the finish. Lawnie finishes last. I don't know what happened to the sound effects. It just seems to be the announcer and the music. Maybe the DOS version couldn't play the sound effects at the same time, I don't know. But yeah, we'll play one more track. Let's go single race, DC Systems, and we'll play this one. Carabonus. As a special bonus to you folks, you get to see me drive really poorly again. Isn't that great? Yes, I could have sworn there were sound effects here, but whatever. It's a really good racer, if you have it on the right system. And by right system, I mean, either on a Windows or Linux PC, or on a console. It was a very console game, that this port is very much an afterthought, I think, from the company. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it just doesn't hold up, There are better racers out there for DOS. I mean, I much prefer playing Slipstream 5000 over this. If we're talking vehicular combat in first person. Oh, I missed! Lawnie, you fool! Yes, missile. I'm probably going to stick this in my top 25, but not this version, if that makes sense. This version is giving me motion sickness. So, yeah. Is that a targeted missile? Yeah! Smashed him. Yes, this version, like I said, not good, but the actual game, really enjoyable. So long as you're not crashing into everything and, dying, which is what I'm doing. There, we boosted it straight into a corner.
Missile.
Yeah, there's a missile coming. I knew I couldn't avoid it. But joke's on him, the missile actually helped us because we were able to not hit a corner. So there. And there is a sort of on-rails element to it, you know. You'll go over pits and stuff and you'll not fall in or anything like that. Yeah, at least I don't think you will. Maybe that's just my superior driving. He says, crashing into the wall repeatedly. See the little power-up screen. There's our shield up and running. That'll just turn up the contrast for us a little bit. Okay, let's see what this power-up does. Whoa, boost! And a missile, which I don't think hit anyone. Oh well. I just fired it in hope there. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of the homing ones, so... Somebody hit a lap record there. I don't think it was me. I feel like they laid mines or something. I might be wrong. We'll find out on the way round again, you know. Lawnie, you idiot! Oh, wow. That did not help the frame rate, that boost, did it?
Missile.
Incoming missile from, yep, number 8 to number 7. And, you know, I'm not last, which is, you know, an improvement. Oh, but I keep running into the wall. And there was a legitimate pause in the game there. Now, did I finish last? I'm not sure I did. I think he overtook me after the checkered flag there. Race position 7th! Yes! It's a Pyrrhic victory for Lawnie. Even though the game is saying bad luck, I managed to not finish last. So I'm very, very pleased with that. Restart race? Nah. So, what is WipEout? WipEout is a game I could spend like 20 plus minutes playing, but on this version I won't. It's a futuristic, cyberpunky sort of racer with an absolutely glorious soundtrack. It's got solid fundamentals in terms of its race mechanics, but unfortunately, this DOS version isn't up to scratch. The frame rates aren't great. It seems to sort of, you know, start and stop and stutter, and yeah, the sound effects weren't there for some reason. It was just the CD audio, and, you know, there was no engine sound, just a bit of commentator and, you know, weaponry, and it just didn't feel right. You know, the PlayStation version was better, and I openly admit that. I talk about the importance of ports. This wasn't a good port, and that's a shame really, because WipEout's a really good game, and it will probably be in my top 25 as I said, but if you're gonna play it, play the source port version. Much, much better. Best of all worlds. And this DOS version can just be relegated to history. And if you like me talking about random DOS games, I do it all the time. Feel free to take a look at the hundreds of other videos on my channel, and if you like what you see there, you can always subscribe. And if you don't get wiped out when racing in futuristic hover cars, you're probably one of my astute driving patrons or members. Look at those great names. They can do much better in WipEout than me, trust me. Not very difficult, is it? So yeah, obviously, I can't play this game very well, and it's not really that great on DOS, but definitely seek it out elsewhere. Until next time.